There's no noise. What's today? Today. Woo! Hold on, let me get some more. Woo! Guys, today is our 100th episode. Still no noise. Let me try this one. Nope, they just go out. They don't make noise. Woo woo. Okay. So excited, guys. 100 episodes. Like, what? Crazy. Today we're going to celebrate 100 episodes, and I'm going to just kind of go back to the beginning, tell you guys how this all started, and welcome in to the UnMothered Podcast. Let's start from the beginning of how this came to be. The road here was long, but it was good. And I have learned a lot. And before we get started, I just want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, continuing to listen. I'm going to let you know how we started and where we're going to go from here, and some new and exciting things that are coming our way, because we are not stopping. We're going to continue to pour out to you guys. We're going to teach you all kinds of things. I'm going to bring on guest speakers that are going to teach you all kinds of things. And it's always going to be encouragement, I hope, and inspiring. And oh my gosh, 100 episodes. Like, what? How did this happen? It's hard to believe that I started this podcast in 2022. I mean, that just seems like yesterday. And when I say those numbers, I'm like, we're in 2025. Like, where did those years go? So it's been like 2.5 years. I was unsure if I was going to be able to talk about unmothered issues for any length of time, much less years. But I have proven to myself that it's not even just like talking about unmothered stuff, but just life in general. As a woman who's navigating this world, some of the struggles that we go through, bringing on these guest speakers that have different journeys, and everyone kind of has that mother story, and just the things that they've written, different authors that I've been able to interview. It's just been amazing. And also, God has just shown me to just really study, like continue to read, continue to learn, continue to pour out. Because there's something about the voice and having a podcast that you can listen to someone's voice. I know when I listen to certain podcasts, it's not even always the content, but it's like this deep breath of like, oh, I get to listen to this person today. I love the sound of their voice, or I feel like I can just sit and have a cup of coffee and just listen to what they're saying and maybe glean a little something from it. Doesn't mean every episode's going to be like killer episode, it's going to be so good. But I will tell you, the very first episode that I had, it was called Your Mother's Issues Are Not Your Mother's Issues. And it continues to be one of the best rated episodes. I don't know if it was because the first one and everyone got curious, or I've had a few people that have slipped into my DMs and said, I really enjoyed that episode. I also get DMs all the time from people, which is just amazing, but we'll get into that in a minute. I just wanted to start with how this whole journey came about. So as some of you, most of you probably know, I was co-hosting a podcast with my friend, and it was pretty successful. It was called 24 Karat Conversations. It was with Rhonda Velez. And I just felt a pull from God telling me to get back to talking about the thing that he had equipped me for. So we had this podcast, and we kind of touched upon different kinds of topics, because it was like conversations 24. It was like good conversation, right? And so we would bring different people on. We would come up with different topics. And the podcast grew and grew. So when I say that I just kept feeling this pull, my friend moved away from California. She moved to Tennessee. And then I noticed it was just getting harder and harder to like kind of connect and get things done. And then I was being pushed in different directions. She was being pushed in different directions. And there was just something in my soul that was like, I think I really need to just stay on topic and not talk about all conversations. But there is a community out there of women that really need to have a mouthpiece of someone talking about what is it like when you've grown up without a mom, and now what do I do as an adult woman? And I have walked this walk for 67 years, and I am a grandma and I'm a mom of two grown daughters and they're in their 30s. And so, I'm kind of an expert on that subject a little bit in this little small realm of mine. I have walked some things with my girls and with myself and now with my grandkids. And so I just felt like this huge God pull where he was like, you need to get back to what I have trained you for, this is your whole thing, and you're pulling away from it. And so the decision to walk away from a podcast that was already successful was scary, but it was something, I will say, my daughter Dominique, my youngest, my baby, she had come work for me. I think she started the year before. And she was a great encouragement where she was like, Mom, you know how to do this. You can do this on your own. Like, you don't need a partner. You can build on this subject matter by yourself. You know how to work a podcast now. You know how it works. You know the structure of it. She's the behind the scenes girl. She does all the editing. She's amazing. She's done all my graphics, all the social media, all those things. So I just had to find a good microphone and a pair of headsets, and I was good to go. And we've even switched those up over the years, and stay tuned because we're switching it up again. But I just think that my topic has always been helping the unmothered, and it's been my passion. It continues to be my passion. I continue to educate myself on this field of expertise. And so it was just time. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned from doing this podcast is we don't have to wear a badge of unmothered around our necks. We can become, better versions of ourselves, healthier versions of ourselves in spite of our unconventional childhood. And I think that is the main thing that I try to bring to the podcast, is that's the point of doing this, is to give you guys wings to fly. Like, to learn how to be the bravest you can be, to know that God is not done with you yet, that yes, we need to go back to look at those situations with our moms and figure out like what happened here and why did that happen, and maybe not always get the answers to all of those things, but also to grow, to say, okay, so that happened over here. Here's where it went wrong. Here's where some of the harm was done. And now I'm going to work on myself so that I can be a better version, a healthier version, so that when I have children, when I am married, when I'm in relationships, I can be the best version of myself and not repeat the same things that I've grown up with. Which, by the way, is really common. If you've grown up with a lot of dysfunction, you just naturally fall back into those habits because it's what you know. So it does take a lot, and it takes listening to a lot of different things, reading a lot of different things, just really educating yourself. So I can't tell you how much of a thrill it is when I get an email, someone slides into my DMs, and they tell me, oh my gosh, that episode was so good. It taught me this and it made me feel like this, or thank you so much because your voice matters and it's helped me to understand this subject more. I get giddy, and I call them little God kisses, because there are times I will tell you guys when I'm on here, I'm like, hello, is this thing on? Is anyone listening? Am I making a difference? Should I just hang it up? I don't know. What am I doing? Like, pouring into this every week. And the answer is absolutely yes. And every time I'm feeling that way, God will throw a God kiss at me. Somebody will send me an email, or someone will jump up and say, like, I really like this. Also, guys, I love when you give me suggestions for a podcast. Not that I'm going to use every single one. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's not really in my vein. But like, a lot of times people will suggest something that they're going through. And, hey, has anyone gone through this? Can you do a subject on that? And I'm like, yeah, that's a great topic. Like, let's do that. So I encourage you guys, like, you can go on the Instagram, the UnMothered handle, and you can, make comments in there. You can slide into my DMs in there. You can make little suggestions or just encouragement. It's always good. People think when they see other people doing different things like this, like some people would never do a podcast, but they really like people who do podcasts. They think that we just know all the things, like, oh, we have it all together and they're so smart, or they have all this information, they know all this stuff. We're struggling. Like, we a lot of times are just learning as much as we can and pouring out as much as we can. And we're scared. We're like, is this something I should be doing? Is this, making a difference? So we need that encouragement. So please encourage your podcasters. Rate them, send comments. Like, yeah, all those things matter. I will say what's happened since we started this podcast too is I have a private UnMothered community on Facebook. You have to answer 3 questions. I tell you guys this all the time. I do kick people out if they just say, I want to join. I'm like, you didn't answer the questions. Decline. Bye. You have to answer the questions. You can come back on, answer the questions. I'll let you in. But a lot of times lately, what I've been finding is the people that are joining in have said, I found you through the podcast. Blows my mind. I'm like, what? That is amazing. They're like, been listening to your podcast. I love it so much. It's been so helpful. I want to join the community. I'm like, 100% yes, that is awesome. I'm not on the Facebook as much. That is going to change. I'm going to try to do some lives on there. I have some ideas of some things I want to do. It's very hard to, I think, communicate, especially for this subject. I feel like I need to be in person to see you guys. And so I think we need to do something like on a Zoom or something. DM me and see if that's something you want to do. I just feel like we need to see each other in person to talk about these issues. I try to bring up topics on the UnMothered Facebook page, and usually it's only 1 or 2 people that will respond. And there's like 125 of you on there right now. So that has grown over this last year and a half exponentially, which is amazing. And it's still growing, still getting people wanting to come in. And so the bigger that gets, the more I want to really dive into that community too. I love you guys so much, but if you're listening to the podcast too, that is amazing. This is a way for you to hear my voice and feel my emotion, because I think that's what's hard about Facebook things is like you're just typing on a computer and it's really hard. We are super emotional creatures, especially us unmothers that have gone through a lot of stuff. We're very emotional, and so we need that connection. But I do encourage women to go on the private Facebook group because, like I said, as we grow, I'll be able to connect with you guys and let you know what we're going to be doing next. And then you guys get to be the first ones to be included in that. So podcast guests are good, and all these people that are listening in, so good. I appreciate you guys so much. I mean, I just deeply say thank you. Like, I am just still amazed that we have been here since the middle, I think towards the end, I think it was October of 2022 is when we started the first episode. And inside I'm like screaming like a little girl, like, this is so great. Thank you so much. But I just want to let you guys know that we are here to stay for the time being. You know, things change. Who knows? By next year, maybe I'm going to hang up my podcasting skills, but I don't think so. I think there's such a community. And also the more people I meet, I'm blown away. I thought growing up, I was the only person that had the crazy mother. And as I've gotten older and met so many writers and speakers, even if their story is not about that, as they talk to me, they tell me a mother story of like some really hard things that they've grown up with. And so there is a commonality amongst more people than I thought, which doesn't make me happy, but it does make me feel seen. And I think that's important. And so that's what I want to leave with you guys is I want you guys to know that you are being seen. I do get you guys. I understand that it is a very different walk. You know, I have friends where they're like, my mom's my best friend. I love her so much. And I'm like, oh, what's that like? And then I'm like, oh, I know what that's like because I have that with my girls. Like, you know, I have a close relationship with my girls and I love spending time with them. But I think there is always that missing piece. As a daughter, we will never experience that kind of mother-daughter in that way. So I'm the mom who's experiencing that with my daughter, but I don't get to do that as a daughter. And I think that's the ticket where you guys understand me is that you're saying, yes, same. I feel the same way. We have that commonality and it is a difficult road and not everyone understands it. And we are a special club. And so I'm just glad that I was able to pour into that club, continue to pour into that club. I hope I bring you guys some really good information in future episodes. So just to let you guys know, I'm always going to be truthful in the hard. So I'm not going to sugarcoat things. You can count on that. But always know that I'm going to keep things moving. I'm not going to get stuck in one thing where I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm especially not here to bash moms. This is not the point. If you think that this is a podcast where we're going to be like, our moms are terrible, they suck, like, you know, all those kind of things. No, I'm here to try to understand why they did what they did. I'm also here to call them out. Yes, what they did is not okay. But I think understanding and having a compassion to know, you know, hey, listen, they were or are messed up. That does not mean that we are responsible for them or for the things that have happened, and we can learn from it and go to a different place in our lives so that we don't continue. I am all about breaking generational dysfunction. I will always be about that. I want to be a chain breaker for families. I want families to be bonded. I want them to be healthy. I want them to have good constructive arguments and not dangerous ones. And so I'm always all about that. Like, let's be the best versions of moms we can be so that when your kids do grow up to be adults, they do want to hang out with you. They do want to call you and come over and stay with you because you are a safe place. You are a fun place to be and you're gentle to be around. Not always agreeable, but my daughters are like, ugh, my mom. No. One other thing I just want to mention too, the most important thing is that, you know, God's still going to comfort you in all of those hard moments. So don't ever think that you're just alone and nobody understands. Let God pour into you. So as much as this podcast is amazing and you guys have all these great things to say, and I love all of that, please remember that one thing I always say when I go out to speak or if I'm doing this podcast is I'm praying before and saying, God, just let my words be your words. It's not really me talking. It's him talking through me. It's just the thing that he equips me to do, and he continues to help me learn and grow. And so whatever I say on here, is it perfect? No, because I'm human. So don't hold me to a higher standard. I don't want that. I don't want that. And I think that just knowing that God's never going to leave you hanging somewhere and just like leave it there with no repair. But you have to do the work to be able to move through those places. So hopefully this podcast will help you do that. If you love this podcast, please share it with everybody. We would love to get more people coming to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a rating if you can. That always helps. And that's going to help like more worldwide, you know, where when it's the whole social media thing, the algorithm and all those things. If they see more people joining in, they're going to put the podcast more out in front. And then that becomes more opportunities of just a whole bunch of stuff. So keep that going. Recommend it to others. Tell people to join in. If it's something that's relevant for them, don't have them join in if they're not interested. And also just a big thank you to you guys for, once again, just for the love and the support and the understanding and encouragement. It just means so much to this small town girl that always had a dream of doing something special. Didn't know what, but I've had a dream about it for a long time. You guys are my peeps and you're the best. And so until next time, hold on. Okay, upside down. There you go. Woo! Happy 100th episode, everyone. I'll see you later.